Good morning, everyone. Hello, how are you? Good morning. I can see you all typing along in the chat box. That's great. It's great to be here again with you. Yes, I'm fine. Thank you very much, Maria. I can see some of your responses there in the chat box. If you are here with us live today, you can use the chat box like you're doing now to answer to my questions. If you're watching this at home later, you will not be able to see the chat box. So at times it might be a little bit weird if I'm responding to someone, but I'm responding to the comments that the live participants are making in the chat box. Can I please ask you for one thing? I see you are all typing in the chat box. I want you to change one thing. Where you type your answer, right above, one line above, there is a "to all panelists." There is this blue button. Can you please press this button, and then a pop-up window appears, and you need to choose all panelists and attendees. Can you do that, please? Great, great, thank you. I can see you writing. Yes, done, excellent. Okay, so let's start with the question. Let's see who was here on Monday and Tuesday, right? So we are talking about GESE 5. Yes. How long is the exam? Type in the chat box, please. How long is the exam? It's 10 minutes. That's correct. And how many stages do we have? We have 2. The first stage is called, yes, the first stage is called the topic discussion. And then we have the second one is the conversation. Exactly. Yesterday and on Monday, we focused on the topic discussion. On Monday, we focused on preparing for the topic discussion and choosing an appropriate topic. On Tuesday, we focused on delivering the topic discussion and some tips on how to engage the examiner and how to make sure that you show to the examiner that you can use the language of the level appropriately. And today we will start looking into the conversation phase. And we will focus on how to prepare for the conversation phase. So again, like we did yesterday and on Monday, I will be asking you questions during this webinar, and I want you to be using the chat box to answer to my questions. But if you have questions for us, then you need to use another box, and this is the Q&A box. I know some of you have found this. On the bottom of your screen, you have some tools. You can see my slides, but you can see some tools. One of the tools says chat. You are using this because I can see you adding comments. Another tool says Q&A. This button, if you click on that, you can use this window to ask questions. Okay, so if I ask you, you type in the chat box. If you ask me, you type in the Q&A. Let's get started, guys. So what do we have, what we're doing today? We will introduce the conversation subjects, the areas that you are expected to talk about. Yeah, there is a list of subjects, and in your exam, when you are at that conversation phase, the examiner chooses 2 subjects to talk about with you. So we will have a look at those. Then we will look at how to become confident with each conversation subject so that you are ready to talk about anything the examiner asks you. We will continue and look at reading and listening as ways to develop subject-related vocabulary. So how we can use reading and listening to make sure that we know a lot of vocabulary appropriate for our level so that we can discuss with the examiner. We will look at some tools that help you study new vocabulary. We will then continue with the preparation for the discussion. So how can we make a discussion plan? This we need in our heads. We are not using a discussion plan during the exam, but we need to have a discussion plan in our head at home when we think about the different topics. Then a little bit of practicing speaking about the different subjects and how we can do that when we are at home. And finally, we will look at a tool that will help us focus on pronunciation. So that's in the menu for today. We have a lot to cover. I hope you're ready. Let's start. So what are the subjects, the conversation subjects that we cover in GESE 5? Do you have any idea? If you know, type in the chat box. Transport, somebody said, yes. People say festivals, special occasion, music. Let's see. Very good. So festivals, yes. Means of transport. Special occasions like birthday celebrations. Entertainment like cinema, television, or clubs. Music. And recent personal experiences. These are the areas, these are the possible subjects that we have on GESE 5. And these are the subjects that we need to prepare for. So all our preparation, all our reading, vocabulary building work that we will do, everything focuses on these subjects. And we will be working with these today. So how do we become confident? What can we do to help ourselves feel comfortable with any subject so that when we go to the exam, we don't feel stressed, we don't feel nervous, and we are ready to discuss with the examiner any subject at all. And I can see some ideas coming in the chat box. Stay focused, practice, 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 practice. Everybody says practice and prepare. Prepare at home, absolutely. Breathe. Oh, I love this. Yes, that's important. Breathe. Stay focused. Don't hesitate. Don't stop. You know these topics. These are everyday topics. Okay, more practice, you say. Let's see what I have here. Let's see if we agree. So my first advice for you is read and listen as much as you can about each subject. So now that you're at home, every opportunity you have to read about festivals, read about special occasions, read about entertainment, the more you read, the more ideas and the more vocabulary you have. You develop more vocabulary, and then you can use it when you discuss with your examiner. Read and listen for ideas then, as well as for language. So when you read something that is interesting, you read something about a festival, maybe a festival of your own, of your own country. You read something about this that you like. Pay attention to the language that is used. Make a list of new words. If you don't know something, check with an online dictionary. Make a note of this so that next time you talk about this festival, you use the new word and you show that you have a big range of vocabulary. So study new vocabulary actively. Give yourself a goal. It could be anything. It could be 5 new vocabulary items every day. Write them down, look at them, study them, use them. Try to make sentences orally using these words. You study them in the morning, revise them in the evening before you go to sleep. Check again these new 5 words, not more. Next day, again. The more you do, the better. Practice speaking as much as you can about each subject. It is important to do all the reading. It is important to do to study the vocabulary, but it is very important to practice speaking. Do not forget, this is a speaking and listening exam. We need you to be able to talk about those subjects. You can speak at any opportunity you get. We will see later, I'll show you a way, even if you don't have someone else to speak to yourself. It's fine. It's good. It's practice. Speak out loud so that you can hear what you're saying, so that you can hear yourself. That's what I see. Ivana is laughing because I said speak to yourself. That's what I did when I was learning English. That's what I did. I used to talk to myself for 10 minutes every evening on a subject, and I helped my speaking developed. Also, when you speak, when you practice speaking at home, make sure you use the vocabulary you have studied, those 5 words we said. Make sure you use them. This is very important. Let's see now. We are going to look at each one of these separately, and I'm going to show you some tools and some websites that you can use for free to help you with these. Let's go. The first website is Commonleet. Don't go there, I'll show it to you. So stay with me here. Maybe make a note of the link for later, for when we finish. Commonleet is a very good website. It is for free, and you can find any topic you like. There are texts that cover all the topics. Let me show you how to do this. We are here. This is my browser. You are looking at my screen now, at my computer. I wrote here commonleet.org. This is the website, and this is what I see. It says create free account. You don't have to. You can scroll down here, digital lesson library. You click on it. And here on the left-hand side, you have the search function. If you go to the search function, you can write, what was a topic that we saw? Let's write festivals. I'll write festival. And you get texts about this topic. These texts are short. They are easy for you to read, but they also help you develop your vocabulary. So you see here, this is the text that you can read and learn about this festival, but also make a note of some words. Here at the bottom after the article, there is a list of vocabulary that the people who wrote it, they think it might be difficult. And they've put it here with the explanation to help you when you read, to help you check some of the vocabulary. Another website that you can use is dreamreader.net. It does exactly the same thing like we saw earlier. You can search for a text based on the subject you are looking for. So if I take you there, I'm going to share my computer again. I can write here music, because remember, one of our possible subjects was entertainment, and it could be cinema, music, and so on. So if I search, you see, I type it here, and then I go search. And I can see all these texts here. The Sound of Music, so this is about the American musical film, rock music, an article about Imagine, the song by John Lennon, unusual university, something about music here again, and so on. So you can click on something that you like, that you find interesting, maybe rock music, and you can listen, or you can read. It is up to you. So you can practice your listening as well by clicking play here, or you can read. And again, remember, the important thing is that you also focus on the vocabulary. How are we doing so far? Are we okay with the two websites I showed you? Yeah? So two websites, they give us texts. We search for the subject that we want. Now, I'm going to show you another tool that I think is very, very useful for you. It is called readlang.com, and I'll show you in a minute. Stay here with me. I'll show you in a minute how to use it. What it does is it translates words on the spot. So you don't need to go back and forth from the text to the dictionary, text, dictionary. It does it on the spot. But what is more important here is that it creates a vocabulary list for you. It creates a list with all the words you asked the website, you asked to translate. So it knows which words you think are difficult. So when you finish with the text, it is very easy for you to revise, to study again. You go to this list and you know that, these are the words I didn't know, so I need to study them. And if you want to register for free, it can also generate flashcards. So on the one, it's like when you have a page, and here you have the item, the word you don't know, here the translation, but it does it electronically for you to revise, to check. So you see the word, and then you need to write the translation as if you are testing yourself. So it makes revision very easy. Okay, so stay with me on this screen, and I'm going to show you exactly how to use this. You need to do 2 or 3 things, but I'll show them to you now. So this is the website. This is what it looks like. Okay. The one thing you need to do, is you need to come here and click Install Web Reader. I will click on it now. It says add. I will add it. Yes, add the extension. And now you see on the top right corner here, do you see this green R? This means that I have installed, I've done what I had to do successfully. Now, what is the next step? I will go back to another website, to one that I showed you earlier, this one, about rock music. Do you remember I showed you this text before? That's the previous website. And here I have the text. And maybe I don't know this word. What is coping? I don't know. I go up here. I press the green button. And it says, what language do you want to translate? English to, and here you can choose any language you want. Any at all. I will choose Greek because that's my first language. And now here, do you see what's happening? When I get my mouse over each word, it becomes green. So if I go back to the word coping that I didn't know before, if I click on this word, I get the meaning of this word here. For this word here. If I want this word here. And it does it on the text. And if I want it to disappear, I click on the word again and it disappears. Now I can go, that was Greek. Now I go here that says menu. And if you click on this, you see some settings. You don't need to worry about them. You don't need to worry at all. I pressed review flashcards. My first language, let's see here. For this one, you need an account. So let's go back to show you exactly. I'm going back to repeat. If you want to translate the word, you get your mouse, you click on the word you want, and it translates it for you. You do not need to have an account. If you want to create flashcards for revision, you need to create an account. The account is for free. You don't have to pay. So from the menu here, you choose sign in, and it will ask you to create an account. When you create your account, you will be able to then click this option, which is the revision of the words that you have chosen from the text. I'm sure you will find this very useful. I use it very often. My students use it very often, and it makes reading easy. But most importantly for you, it helps you develop new vocabulary, new words in English that you need to use during the exam. So we've seen, so far we've said, read about the different conversation subjects. Listen about these information subjects. Use vocabulary tools. You can use them online, like the website I showed you, or just pen and paper, write down the words you don't know from each text, and make sure you revise often. And with this, it will help you develop your ideas and your language about these subjects. The next step is to practice speaking about each topic. So you know the ideas, you have the language, now you need to practice speaking. A way to do this is to record yourself speaking. Remember, I said that yesterday as well. Yesterday and on Monday, I said, get your phone, record, and then listen to your voice, listen to yourself talking. Because when you listen to yourself talking, you can correct, you can identify a mistake. You can say, oh, this is not clear. And you can record again. If you have someone else that also prepares for the exam, now you may not be able to meet this other person because of the restrictions, but you can use Zoom, what we are using now. You can use the same platform to connect with the other person, or maybe you can use something like Skype or WhatsApp or whatever you use to communicate with your peers, with your friends. You can use that to record a conversation about a subject. So my idea is you can do it on your own or with another candidate. And yesterday we talked about finding other candidates, using social media to find others who prepare for the same exam, to help each other practice your speaking. Choose a subject area. Yeah, we have festivals, entertainment, special occasions, and so on. Choose one. Prepare a discussion plan. Prepare a discussion plan. I'll show you a discussion plan in a minute. Record your discussion, maybe with video, or maybe just audio, just sound. Record the discussion. Listen to the discussion and take note of your performance. On a paper, write some things that were not correct and that you can improve on. If there are areas that you can improve on, do it again. Study, check online, and then do it again. The same subject, the same discussion, but this time make sure you correct orally. When you speak, you correct those mistakes. Now, how do we prepare a discussion plan? And here we have, remember the different, we saw yesterday, do you remember the different language functions here? We said, what do we need to do when we are looking at GESE 5? I need to be able to use language that helps me talk about the future, to give information and make predictions, language to express preferences, language to talk about events in the indefinite or recent past, language for giving reasons, language for stating the duration of events, and language for quantifying. So when you plan in your head your discussion, you need to keep in mind that for every subject, you need to be able to do all of these. And how can we do that? We need to guess. We need to guess the questions that the examiner might ask. Let's see how. Let's do it together. If the subject is festivals, what is a question that the examiner might ask to help us talk about the future? To help us talk about the future. Can you type in the chat box a question the examiner might ask to help us talk about the future, not the past, not the present, something about the future? When will you celebrate your next festival? What festival do you think is coming next in Britain? What are you planning to attend any festival? I am just reading aloud your questions that you write. Do you think more people will attend festivals in the future? You see, you already have all these wonderful ideas. So maybe start answering orally, out loud. Start answering these questions about festivals to talk about the future of festivals. What about expressing preferences? What is a question that the examiner might ask to help you use language to express preferences? Yeah, what is the question then? Let's think. Do you prefer rock concerts or classical concerts? Somebody said, so more about music festivals, somebody had in mind. Do you prefer celebrating festivals in the UK or your home country? What a wonderful question. Do you prefer summer festivals or winter festivals? Amazing ideas, guys. Very well done. So again, try to answer these questions orally later, to use the language that's appropriate for the level, to say, yes, I prefer to celebrate festivals in my home country because. Practice saying this out loud. What about talking about festivals in the past? What questions what questions the examiner may ask about the past? What questions? Have you ever been to any festivals? Have you ever celebrated a? Yes. Have you been to any festivals recently? Ooh, very good, yes. When did you, maybe where did you celebrate your last festival? That's another question. Okay. So giving reasons, other questions about giving reasons, of course, is why. So it is important that on everything, if they ask you about the future, your preferences, the past, it is important that you add a because to show that you can use language to give reasons. Don't wait for the examiner to ask you about reasons. Give the reasons with your responses. Like somebody said earlier, for talking about the past, have you ever been to a festival before? And you can say, no, I haven't been to a festival. So I'm using language to talk about the past. I haven't been to a festival because I don't like outdoor events. I don't like them. And I also use now language to give reasons. So it is important to link. Stating the duration of events. What is a question that the examiner might ask for this? What is a question the examiner might ask for this? To state the duration. How long was this event? How long? Okay, yes. How long? Okay. How many days did the festival last for? Yes. Remember, we are making a link between the subject. In this case, just for now that we are now during this webinar, I'm using festivals as an example. And we need to link the question, the areas, and the subject. So it's not general questions like, how long have you been in the UK? It is more specific questions about festivals. Somebody says, how long does Ramadan last? How many days do you celebrate, Diwali or another festival? I don't know, any festival at all. And what about quantifying? Can you give me, please, a question about that will help you use language to show quantity in relation to festivals? How many festivals have you been to? Yes. Maybe, do you know many people who celebrate? Do you know many people? Yes, I don't know many people. I know a few. So this question gives you an opportunity to show that you know this language. So when you prepare at home, I want you to do the same. What we did now, I want you to think of all the different areas that you see here for every subject, for festivals, for means of transport, for special occasions, for entertainment, music, for example, and for recent personal experience. So I want you to practice thinking about the possible questions the examiner might ask, and then I want you to start giving answers orally. When you do this, it will be easier for you to contact another person, use whatever communication platform you want. You can use Zoom, Skype, WhatsApp, Facebook, FaceTime, whatever you like. Choose one subject area and then do a role play. You are the examiner and your friend is the candidate. So you ask the questions that you prepared and the other person answers. And then change roles. Then your friend is the examiner You are the candidate. It is important that you record these discussions. Record them, please. And then listen and correct. Help each other to correct. Help each other to improve. If you heard something that was not, you are not sure about, maybe the grammar, maybe the vocabulary was not great, help each other to improve. Focus on pronunciation. So first we saw read for ideas, listen for ideas, read and listen for ideas and vocabulary. Study the vocabulary. Practice thinking about the possible questions that the examiner might ask. Practice responding to these questions orally. Find a friend and do a role play, examiner, candidate, candidate, examiner. Record and then listen for errors. Listen for errors in grammar, in vocabulary. And now that you're more confident to talk about these subjects, it is important to focus on pronunciation as well. And here I have the last website I will show you today. This is dictation.io. I'm going to show you now my computer again to show you what it looks like. This is what you will see. What you do, you click here that says launch dictation, and it starts listening to your voice, and it automatically writes whatever you say. If you have a smartphone, you have that already. You have Siri, or you have Alexa, or I don't know, where you talk and the computer writes what you say. Now, if you talk about festivals on your own, the computer starts writing. You can check if what the computer writes is correct. It means your pronunciation is clear. If your computer does not understand some words and it writes something else, it means you need to focus on the pronunciation of these words. You need to try and pronounce them clearly. So this is a good way, without a teacher, to check your pronunciation if it is clear. Because if it is clear when you dictate, when you talk to this website, whatever you say, you will see it on the screen. But if your pronunciation is not clear, you will not see it on the screen. Again, this website is free for you to use. And this was the very last idea that I had for you for today. I hope you try, maybe spend the rest of the day to try and access the websites I showed you. Check if you agree if you find them easy, if you can start using them. And tomorrow, join us again, and we will explore the conversation phase in more detail. We will watch an example and we will analyze it together. I hope you have a great day. Thank you very much for being here, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.